Extremist views exposed, Honest Reporting revealing seriously troubling views held by a longtime CNN staffer. Joining us with more, editor at Honest Reporting, Akiva Van Koningsveld. Hi, Akiva.
Good afternoon.
Akiva, tell us a little more about Idris Muktar. Firstly, who's the guy and what was the process of exposing him?
Yes, Mr. Ibrahim has worked for CNN since 2015, where he reported from Africa, for example, on President Obama's visit to Africa. And since then, he has worked for CNN up until last Friday. And as part of our investigative work as a media watchdog, we discovered several very troubling tweets, including one where he declared himself part of #Team Hitler. And he said Hamas has a right to their quote-unquote resistance against Israeli civilians and terrorist attacks. And he was credited last Sunday, November 13, on an article about Israel's incoming coalition. And that led us to discover him, and as part of our work as a media watchdog, we exposed his tweets, which led to his firing finally on Friday.
That's indeed very disturbing, but I'll have to ask, what does this say about CNN and their hiring process? Do they not know, not check, or simply don't they care about his outspoken public views? We have to say they're outspoken. Everyone sees them.
I agree. Notably, his Team Hitler tweet was only posted several months before he was first hired by CNN. But Mr. Ibrahim is only the latest anti-Semitic journalist we exposed. Over the last few months alone, we uncovered 5 anti-Semitic journalists and also pro-terror journalists working for mainstream outlets. And we successfully convinced, for example, the New York Times to cut ties with several supporters of Adolf Hitler.
What about him now? Is he still working at CNN?
CNN cut all ties with him last Friday after our supporters en masse emailed CNN's email addresses and forced them to cut ties with him. But as I said, I think this is part of a larger problem where news outlets do not do their due diligence. It took us around 10 minutes to find these tweets. Why did CNN not find these tweets?
You're totally right. And Akiva, you said something about it. Do you think we're addressing extremism and anti-Semitism the right way? The world, the media outlets are focusing on, as you said, mainly punishing, firing, and so on, instead of really addressing their problematic views and trying to educate them and change their minds, looking at people like Kanye West and Idris Muktar himself.
Well, yeah, trust in journalism is at an all-time low, and when we discover these journalists who hold clear anti-Israel and anti-Semitic views, that comes to no surprise. And it is imperative that the media restore trust in journalism by taking measures against journalists that are clearly not objective. If they would have made any other racist remark about any other group, there would be full disclosure about their conflict of interest. But here it's almost seems to be normalized that these journalists are anti-Semitic and working for some of the world's most reputable outlets.
So what can be done in your opinion? What's the media's job? What's the media's goal here?
The media should obviously vet all their hires properly, which takes only a mere amount of minutes. And at the same time, anti-Semitism is at a dangerously high level in the U.S. at this point, with the FBI warning just last week that the amount of hate crimes against Jews is rising to a level of national priority. And the media should shine a light on these hate crimes instead of abetting them.
Akiva, what are you working on these days? You, Honest Reporting.
Well, as part of our work as a media watchdog, we shine a light on anti-Israel and anti-Semitic media bias, especially when this is ideologically motivated. And we will continue our work. Just a few weeks ago, when we exposed 2 anti-Semitic journalists working for the New York Times, we were attacked by Iran's Press TV with several threats that were made to our staff members. And we are undeterred, and we will keep fighting anti-Israel media bias.
Very interesting, Akiva. Very impressive work. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.